It is Tuesday night. It's 7 o'clock. I've got a Coors Original. That means it's time for That's Cool drink. Tonight is going to be absolutely. Steve Haefner is on with me tonight, who I called the wrong name all week long, which was awesome. He messaged me after and was like, "Hey, by the way, here's how you pronounce my name. Day late, dollar short. That's how I roll." But we got to talking, and I said, I should probably have you on the show. If you guys don't know, he has the absolutely crazy and amazing cutlass that was on MegaWeek. Here it is at Autorama. Absolutely nuts build. A bunch of help from 417 Motorsports with that, and we're going to get a lot of kind of behind the scenes of Blake and the folks. Danny, what's going on? Big shout out to Neil. I'm wearing the Neil hat tonight. Yeah, whatever. Thanks so much, Mr. Clifton. I just wrote an article for Sick the Mag on MegaWeek, and it included a bit of Stuart Clifton as well in it. But it also included Mr. Steve Haefner, who, and we'll talk about it, on MegaWeek came out day one and turned in a 15:11 time slip. Finished the week running a 760 at 180 miles an hour with the awesome G-body. We're going to talk G-body stuff. We're going to talk so much cool drag and drive stuff. Of course, he's done a bunch of window licking with some of the names in the game. He's also wheeled a 8-second Corvette as well, a C6 car. So this dude's kind of got his fingers and fingerprints all over a ton of drag and drive stuff, and we are here for it. We're going to absolutely have a blast. But ladies and gentlemen, tonight, episode number 79, Mr. Steve Haefner. Let's get it going. The man of the hour.
Cheers,
Mr. Haefner. Cheers to you, my friend. And we were talking before, and I've also got the water.
Got the water.
Yeah, Stevie says, so it's here. But dude, how in the hell are you tonight? And let's talk MegaWeek. What do you say?
Yeah, for sure. I'm doing great. We're right now just talk about what we're doing right now. We're just kind of took the car apart to clean it, and look after some things because, that was the first 1,700 miles of the car.
Right.
And,
right.
So we're dealing with little things and we're making changes to handle all the things that we found. Nothing major at all.
The stuff,
right? That's what we're doing.
The stuff that you get. How many miles did you have on this before you showed up at day zero?
So between like driving it to the fairgrounds, driving it in and out of Autorama, at PRI it wasn't wired yet, so we had Bluetooth injectors at that point. Right. So so we didn't drive it in there, but I mean driving it in and out of Autorama and to the fairgrounds and to the gas station a couple of times, we had like 26 miles on it.
Okay, that's pretty good shakedown.
No, yeah, I wouldn't call it that, but yeah. But we did the initial shakedown. Really, is we just drove it to Tulsa. We didn't put it in the trailer.
Okay.
So Blake was like, "Hey, you want to drive this thing to Tulsa?" I'm like, "Sure, let's go." So obviously he was following me, and then later I was following him with the truck and trailer. So we had that cushion of being able to pick the guy up and then get it to the event and fix whatever we had problems with. But we had zero issues. It was great.
I love it. For people that don't know, give us a rundown of the combo. But what is it? What's the goal to it?
Yeah, so it's obviously a G body. It's an '86 Cutlass. It was a one owner grandma car out of Tennessee.
Oh, dude.
Like 40, yeah, there you go. Like 43,000 miles. The thing was pristine.
I'm disappointed it doesn't have the Landau top.
Yeah, but Blake was like, "Hey, just give me something that's kind of clean," And I said, hold my beer,
Right. Here, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, dude. And I mean, in the 80s, that was the thing. Like that car, someone's aunt had that car.
Oh, for sure.
And dropped them off at high school or something, and people people were like, "Holy crap, dude! Your aunt's pretty cool," and yeah, whatever. And here you are. You're now the cool aunt.
I guess. Yeah.
Hey,
call me Auntie Steve. I'm down.
That's right. That's right. Auntie Stevie's here. But yeah, what were the combo? What is it? Who built it? Why did you build it? What's
yeah. So I mean, as you mentioned, I think in the intro that I had a 2010 Grand Sport Vet that did 8s. I think my best, that was when it was NA. That was in Drag Week 97 there, or 17 rather.
Right.
And I did that, like, I think it was 11-second car at that point, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go faster. So I spent a bunch of money and made that.
There it is.
Blake did that too. So that's how I met Blake. I met him in 16 or 15, and he put the cage in it for me for 17. So I had the cage in it, and I was ready to do 850s in 17, but I didn't have a blower or power adder or anything like that. So then we said, okay, well, let's, I ended up putting a Pro Charger on that. It was pretty loud. A lot of people said it was the loudest car they've ever heard.
I love that.
And so it was loud. It was very loud. And that also made me decide that I don't want a Pro Charger anymore. Besides the belt issues too. I mean, anybody that has a Pro Charger that's belt driven will tell you there are dilemmas, right, of keeping belts on it, and all the challenges and all the stuff they have with belts. And I just said, I need to eliminate all those problems. I need to eliminate working on the vet problem and build a different car because I want to go faster. So originally I went to Blake and I go, well, why don't we just back half the vet, and let's put some more
sell an axle and whatever.
He's like, no, we're not doing that. So I go, okay. So I kind of thought about it, and I came up with 4 different cars that I wanted to choose from, right? So it was like 55 Chevy because I love them.
Totally, who doesn't?
A 67 Nova.
Okay.
A second gen Camaro.
Okay.
And a G body, any G body, right? That was my final choice of a car that I wanted to pick up.
Yeah, and that's because you got a little bit of gangster in you.
Maybe, I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm a little partial myself.
No doubt. So what, in 2020, like the height of COVID, my daughter and I was like, okay, well, let's go take a cruise. And we drove out the middle of Illinois, southern Illinois. And, there's a place out there in Stratford that's no longer there, by the way. They closed down. And, but they had a bunch of cars and all kinds of stuff. So we went there and started looking, and my daughter found the Cutlass, and she goes, I think I like this one, so and that's what I said, okay, let's do it. And you started with a hell of a good car. Like this looks like a car you could just jump in, and it probably was V6 and whatever. It was a 308. Yeah, it was an old 308.
Hell yeah.
Had that metric 250 or whatever transmission.
Mm-hmm.
But it ran fine. I didn't drive it home. I put it on a trailer, but after I got home, I took the air cleaner apart, and there was a bunch of garbage in there, just like how they always are for that stuff that used to have on the
Underside
inside
of the hood.
Yeah, all that was inside the carburetor, basically.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I cleaned all that out and got rid of that stuff, and it ran really well.
Hell yeah.
I drove it around a few times, for I don't know, like a half a year or something, just messing around, and then I took it to Blake.
Hell yeah. What's the chassis? What's the power plant? What trans?
Yeah, so it's a 25.3 chassis, so good 6.5 right now. It'll take 25.2.
Okay.
So it's got that little section of regular frame rail, that a lot of classes kind of require in the front.
Right.
So like from the front suspension to the first body mount, in the car.
Right.
So that's factory suspension, but everything else is tube. Spec to 20. We get lose 100 pounds, and we're right into the 25.2. So
cool.
Right now it's like 33 and some change with me in it. So we're pretty happy with that, right? Like really happy with it.
For street car stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's an all steel, all glass car. The only thing that's glass on it is the hood and the deck lid. Everything else is steel and real glass. So
hell yeah. Like God intended.
Right. So we're a carbon doors and pro glass and a few things away from being pretty stinking light, right? So
yeah.
Anybody knows the G body knows how heavy those doors are.
The doors, dude. Yeah. But it's that clunk when you shut them. It feels good. There's no doubt. It does. You just know quality. It's that body by Fisher pump, yep. And it's all good. You don't need to yell at your wife if she slams the door because it can take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a G body.
And I actually did that a few times at like PRI, and people freaked out when I did it. It's like, hey man, this is a street car, bro.
It's not a race car. It's not a little flimsy nothing race car. So, yep. What motor's in it?
It's a big black Chevy. So it's a Brodix aluminum block. Brodix Headhunters. 383 Headhunter combo. 540. Yeah.
Okay.
Decent. Yeah.
Hell yeah. What turbos?
They're Jose turbos, so force inductions, 94s.
Nice. Hell yeah. And what sort of power does it make?
Well, I mean, it's certainly capable of 3,000. There's no doubt. We had it on the dyno just to tune for methanol right before race week. In fact, that Friday when we left, that's what we were doing. We're on a roller dyno, just tuning for methanol so that we can make some passes and put up decent numbers. But it, as you'll hear shortly, there's a reason why it didn't put up the numbers we maybe wanted at the time.
I can't wait.
It's doing exactly what we want. Yeah, combo is perfect. Yeah.
Let's go all the way back.
Right.
What got you into cars? Why are you a car dude?
Man, I don't know, dude. I was young. My uncle had like a GTO and
those Pontiac dudes, dude, they get you every time.
I was big time Pontiac in the beginning. There's no doubt about it. I had a 68 Firebird, and I had a GTO myself as well when I was younger. There's something about it, and I like taking pictures of cars, and I talked about cars, and this is just I don't know.
Just like as long as you can remember, you just
for sure
always kind of had it. Like your dad wasn't a car dude though, and
no, unfortunately my dad died when I was pretty young, so I didn't really grow up with a dad to pass that kind of thing on to me, but
your uncle's a good.
My uncle, yeah, my uncle was big time into it. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. What was the first car that you bought and started modifying? Shout out to Clutch Burners podcast. I stole that question.
Yeah, right on. So, well, I mean, if we count the 68 Chrysler Newport my grandma gave me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I
Yes.
modified it per se, but I definitely maintained it. Right, I changed all the spark plugs. I had this whole laundry list of stuff that I wanted to do.
And that would be a big block probably, and that's C body Mopar.
Yeah.
And that's the big Mopar. I mean, like all the big stuff was, it
was massive.
Yeah. But
I really, really, really love that car. And like I said, I was 14, and I did stuff to it to just make it run better and all that. And then, my mom caught me driving around the neighborhood at 14.
Hell yes.
She sold it. So there we go. There's the end of my dream.
Son of a. Are you ever going to buy a Newport? Is that
I really it was a couple of years ago. I was hard looking for one, and I just couldn't find one that was even worthy of me. Given my
they're all just such basket cases now.
They're bad. A lot of them are really bad, and the ones that are decent, they're worth $20,000, and that's not even remotely
exactly. And right, it's worth that to like one person in the world that really, really knows and wants those cars, but for the rest of the world, it's a $7,500 fun cruiser.
Yeah, for sure. I'd pay $10,000 for that all day. Yeah,
right,
sure.
right. But
so if anybody knows a pearl white 4-door 68 Chrysler Newport with blue interior, let me know.
We got 10 G's ready to go. Slap in your hand. What got you into drag and drive?
So I was almost 50. Just getting ready to turn 50, and I said, hey, I need to buy a Corvette, because
like most almost 50-year-olds should do.
I got my New Balance sneakers, my Jordans.
And honestly, you picked a good one. You picked a C6. You picked a Grand Sport.
Yeah.
You could do way worse than that car.
Yeah, no, it was a good car. I'm glad I did it, right? 100%. And but I bought it, and then the bug immediately reimmersed, right, of wanting to hot rod stuff. So, I mean, long story short is between the age of 18 to the age of 40 something, I had, military and getting married and having kids, and so I didn't do any of that hot rodding stuff all the way up until 2016. I started doing it again. Yeah.
And then you were like, I'm 50. Screw it, man. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's time. The kids were, teenagers at that point, and they could, I was almost there. I always say that the job of a parent is to get their kid to 18 without them dying.
Right. Right.
And I did.
And then 18 in 6 months, you're on your own, kid. Like I did pretty good bringing you to right here. So, Dom Famous, that is a shit pick. Dominic, tune it in.
Oh yeah, hey Don, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he says that he loved Pooch's Cutlass.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good segue, really, to start talking about the Cutlass again. Is that that was my inspiration, really? Is the Cutlass? His Cutlass,
cool.
Is sort of why. I mean, I joke and say that my daughter picked that car, but I saw the car and I'm like, yeah, that's it, and it's silver. I mean, looks gray in that first picture, but it was silver. It was a silver car.
No, totally, and it, I mean, clean. It's got the right wheels and everything. If I were to look at this car, I would go, that's the car. I mean, because if you look behind it, there's an old rusty piece of shit Thunderbird or whatever. So you know that this guy has questionable taste. driving up, but then he pulls out with this thing, and then all is redeemed.
Right on.
You know,
but yeah, no. So Jason was definitely an influence on me to build this car for sure.
Hell yeah,
no doubt about it. And it was great meeting up with it at PRI, and we were talking, and he was staring at the car, and he's like, "Couldn't you have painted a different color?" And it was all the jokes, and it was great. Like everybody thought that was Pooch's car, by the way. I don't know if you know. Everybody thought that was his car. They were walking by saying, "Oh, that's Pooch's car," you know. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, right on, dude." Yeah, there he is. There's Pooch. But no, he's an awesome dude. Such an awesome guy.
Yeah. Hell yeah, totally cool. And then I mean, you get to sit and rub elbows with that guy. Like that's the cool thing when you build cool shit is.
Yeah, no doubt.
You get to do cool stuff like that, but
100%.
So you decided, okay, we're going to bring it to MegaWeek. Blake rode with you, I assume, right?
Yeah. He was my co-pilot, or crew chief, or what do you want to call it?
Right, window licker, and I got to give a big shout out.
He's with me for a lot of these, He's probably going to get bored of it now. Have to find a new guy. But.
Right. I do have to give a shout out to Blake and 417, 417, whatever. When Bill Armstrong was trying to do a burnout in Clay Leak's 55 Chevy, that's a 2-lane blacktop.
I've seen
he was trying to do a burnout in that, and it doesn't quite make the horsepower his Fairlane makes, and it didn't quite have the clutch lock up, and he did a burnout on the clutch and blew that clutch up. I mean, and it's like a whatever. I think when we went to the parts store, we were buying a clutch for a 74 1-ton square body truck is what we were putting in that thing.
Right.
But Blake gave us a lift, and we did the whole thing. It was great. It was super awesome. But it blew that thing up, and I mean bad. So yeah, big shout out to Blake. Always kind of been on the race week kind of world and team and stuff. So
100%. He's definitely part of the drag and drive realm, if you will.
Yeah.
If I'm allowed to say drag and drive.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's been around for a minute. He's done.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know about Krusty, right? The
Krusty Nova. Yep. Shane McClellan.
Yep. But that was his kind of entry into, I think, as I recall, into like the drag and drive stuff at Hot Rod Drag Week. And then, I think in 2017 he brought his own truck.
Okay.
Sonoma, if I remember right, it was.
That
17.
Sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
For that, he was like with Shane.
Right.
And then he brought his own truck, and I actually have his trailer. That trailer that I have is his. I bought it from him.
Okay.
And,
totally. It's the and it's got the TIG welder.
Yep.
On the side.
Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah. So you got back in the Cutlass. You decided, let's do MegaWeek. Blake, let's go. Let's load it up. What, with 20 miles on the car, obviously no passes. What was what was the goal? Was it just show up and shake it down and maybe just go home, or actually try to get the week?
The goal was to finish the week, right? So we had two goals there, and it was finish the week and get me used to the car. So we weren't. The first discussion was, if anything happens, just get out of it. Don't try to pedal it or get back in it.
Right, we're not racing for $1 million here.
Get out of it, right? and so that's what we did, right? So the day one, as you saw, I did like a 15-second pass and a 16-second pass because I just got out and just pooched on.
Day one, you turned in a 15:11 at 53 miles an hour.
Yep.
And then you said your quickest up to the point that you had the Cutlass was 883, right?
Yeah, it was like I want to say it was at ZMAX. I'm going to look this up now. The Carolina Nationals, we were doing exhibition runs, so it was from Drag Week night 2019.
Right.
They had Hot Rod had us come to ZMAX for that,
right, which is such a cool deal to be in front of that national event.
Yeah,
audience.
And that was the first one of those style deals where the NHRA had Drag Week people come over, and I was part of that. That was great. Shout out to Scott. To Scott Brown actually kind of hooked me up because somebody fell through and he mentioned me, and I because Scott and I met prior to that too.
Yeah, and there's a really kind of I think it's famous, like an infamous picture of John Force looking under the hood of Scott Brown's
car,
Capone ride, which is one that you did. You did this one if you haven't ever seen it. But it doesn't look quick. It runs 850s. He's since sold it, and I saw it with Keith Turk at Bonneville. A guy towed out his Bonneville Speed Week motorcycle with an 850 4 Bel Air that looks like it has a Blue Flame 6 in it and might run 16s. There's a great picture though of John Forrest just peeking in there, and it's awesome. Big fan.
Yeah, no, that was a good event. So that's where I actually had my quickest time of 883 at 160.
Wow.
So the number you're going to hear in a few minutes will just make you go, oh, okay. So that was a 570 to the 8th at 124 miles an hour. You get the idea. That's the quickest I'd been until the Friday in Texas, or Thursday. It was Thursday in Texas.
Thursday in Texas, yeah. And day 2, you went 884 at 125. And then day
884, yeah. That was a 548 to the 8th, 141 miles an hour. So.
And then day 3, you went 836, 129, but went in the 5s again in the 8th, right?
Yep, it was 5s, 507, 138 miles an hour. So you can tell that I was getting out of it at that point.
Right.
By the next number you'll hear, which is the Ennis Pass, where I was. This is a soft 60 now. This is all these were 1, 3, 5, 60s.
Right.
That we've of the 3 passes we just actually the 880 was a 162 60 because stupid me thought the green meant go, and I didn't let it get into boost and just
oops.
Did that a few times. We can talk about that in a minute. Blake was not happy with me.
That'll happen.
Not at all. But yeah, no. So that Ennis Pass, 135 60 foot 502, 157.
Wow.
In the 8th. So that is nearly as fast as I'd been in a quarter at that point.
Right.
Mile per hour wise, right?
Yeah.
And 7.6 at 180. So, I mean, I think we're glad that we had converter problems.
Yeah. Totally. Sure. And you were telling me before it's got the converter's way too loose.
Oh, it's way loose. But that's why we were fighting. That's some of the things we were fighting for sure. Yeah.
But you have legitimate 180 mile an hour street car. Dude. Yeah. And that's its 5th pass.
It's the 7th total. There's 7 passes total. So
okay. Yeah. But that's, still, it's 7th pass. It's in the 7s. That's, and especially for a dude that's gone 860s before ever. Yeah. That's pretty gangster, dude.
I mean, I 100% attributed this to the car and not me.
So. There's got to be a little of you. There's got to be a little of you. It doesn't do anything unless you tell it to do the thing. And, you could just poop your pants the whole way down, which is about what I would do. But you know, 180 mile an hour on the 7th pass.
Yeah,
Pretty
not
spectacular.
bad. Real happy about that one for sure.
Hell yeah.
And you know, and the difference between the Thunder Valley Pass at the 5.0 at the 8th, where I was like, holy crap, you know, and the difference, you know, then the next day at Texas, I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
So yeah,
What?
I'm starting to get it, and now it's just time. We got to get back in it, and I gotta get some laps on this thing, you know.
And what was it like? I mean, this one was hard. Like race weeks are typically hard, but this one was like extra hard. And we went through a monsoon. Is it watertight? Do you know? Because you know now.
Somewhat. We had some minor issues with that, but we handled that rather quickly, actually. Good. On the drive down, out of right when we left out of, I want to say it was Kansas. So it was a drive down to Thunder Valley,
right,
where we had the stop kind of in Kansas,
correct,
Wichita area. We stopped there, so we didn't do anything with no maintenance on the car or anything until we actually got to Kansas, if I remember right. And then we did a little bit of maintenance. Or no, it wasn't even then. We didn't do any maintenance on the car in Kansas at all. And then we drove it down to OKC, and then that's when we actually started doing a little bit of maintenance.
Right.
Like change the oil. We stopped by David and Tina's shop and changed the oil because it's right next. I mean, it's literally right next to the hotel we're going to stay at.
Right. Yeah.
So
shout out to Pierce Automotive.
Yeah, for sure.
Diamond Dave. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they're incredible people, man. They're so nice. So we stopped by there, changed the oil out, and then we got to the hotel. And then the next morning, I actually changed out the transmission fluid. So as we mentioned before, we found out like day 2, because day 1's passes were, we just spun immediately. And what that was, that's why we turned in the 15-second time slip or whatever.
Right.
So they did like 15-second and a 16-second time slip. That was, we ended up changing the bar angle. We had the bar angle set for 315s. So the 315 tire was on it. And then at the last minute, we put the 275s on it, because if we were going to get data, we wanted on a 275 tire, because that's the tire we're going to use the most, right? And all this heads up stuff and all the other jazz, we're going to be on a 275.
Right.
So we put the 275s on it, but we neglected to change the bars for the 275. So Blake was like, okay, right. So as soon as we got to the hotel, the evening of day 1 for, before day 2 up at Flying H, we did he did all the math and did all the stuff, and he plotted stuff on the ground and hey, move this here. And so we started moving bars. He made a few shock changes as well. I think he tightened it up a little bit, because it was going to be a little bit more aggressive on the tire at that point. So he tightened it up a little bit as well in the rear. And
real quick, you were in the evening group?
No, we were morning.
Morning. So you were in the A group. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Sure. So you made the drive to the hotel and then made the.
Yeah, that's right there is the hotel up in Odessa, right there.
Got it. Yeah.
So we did stuff, and then then we moved on to. I think Odessa was when we were able to do the 8.8. So all right. So in between there, we had a different challenge. It wasn't shifting at all.
Oh, so, what trans?
It's a 400 turbo 400, and I got a gear vendor behind it.
Okay. All right. 3-speed still?
Yeah, 3-speed. Yeah.
Okay.
Close ratio. It was like I think it was like a 160, 141 or something like that.
And the gear vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And not lock up, just a standard converter.
Yeah, no lockup.
Okay.
External dump. We have an external dump on it.
So not really high zoot stuff, but
Not yet. Not yet. It's still the intermediate shaft, still the small guy. You know, the regular intermediate shaft. So right now, that's the training we got. I mean, that was expensive enough, but
right. Anyway, sorry. So it won't shift.
Yeah. So I mean, it was like I think it was. I can't remember if it was at Tulsa because I don't think we even figured it out at Tulsa. I think it was at Flying H Pass 1. We figured out that it wasn't shifting.
Okay.
And so we took a look at it, and sure enough, the solenoid just wasn't wired right. We had a couple of grounds on the Mac valve rather. So we had a couple of grounds on the Mac valve and so some power. So
that's this guy.
There we go. Yep. we resolved that, and then we're off to the races. And that's when we that next pass is when we got that 880. So they actually did the 1-2 shift. You know, but it didn't do the 2-3, right? And we didn't know yet what was going on there. Other than, now the next day at Thunder Valley, we figured out that 100% it's just blowing through the converter. Right. So the 1-2 shift happens, and then we're right on the limiter. So the 2-3 doesn't happen because it's already past where the 2-3 is supposed to happen.
Right. So it sounds like a snowmobile. It's just 1 RPM pretty much.
Yeah, in one of those videos you can actually hear it. It's just like, you can't hear any change at all.
Right. But it's shifting, but it's not changing anything.
It's dropping like maybe 500 RPM or something.
Right.
It's not enough, right? Not nearly enough, right? Super loose.
So you're doing your best to do a burnout on the torque converter the whole way down the racetrack and burn the transmission up. So that's
why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
So that that was obviously a challenge. We had other challenges too, but that was it was all the challenges were on the track. We really had zero we just pretty much put fuel in it on the road. In fact, even valve lash, we really didn't make any adjustments. I think the first couple of days we made some minor adjustments.
Okay.
And we check lash every morning, cold at the hotel, and we really didn't have to do much at all. Just put fuel in it.
It's awesome. So I assume solid roller stuff.
Yeah, solid. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So you got through the rain, and again, you found a couple of leaks, but I think everyone found a couple of leaks that day.
Yeah.
How was that driving through Wichita?
Well, I mean, we got there before anything really hit. I mean, we were already at the hotel. And then the real big storm came through. So we were lucky in that we were just on it. We got out of Flying H as soon as we could, and started on our way down because we knew that all that storm was coming. So
totally. Did you bring road tires, or were you just driving on the?
Yeah, no, we put the road tires on at Flying H. We had the road tires. Our intent is to not change to the road tires unless we need to, because it's just less things to deal with.
Right.
But yeah, I'm always going to have road tires with me. I learned that lesson a long time ago.
Smart.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Then you get over to Thunder Valley and you are able to do an 836. But again, you're real quick to the 8th mile, only a few numbers better at the quarter with the 129, but all of a sudden you're creeping up on stuff. Like you've got it semi figured out. It seems like, I mean,
Yeah. So at that point it's shifting, right? So now we have the car shifting in the second, right? It did blow through the converter and bounce off the rev limiter, which is why I let out of it. And that I coasted to 830.
Mm-hmm.
and that was also with thicker transmission fluid in it, because that morning we put like, John Deere tractor fluid in it.
Right.
To try to tighten
that's supposed to that's supposed to be the king sauce. It's supposed to tighten it up 200 or 300.
Yeah, it was still way too loose.
Did it do anything? Did it make any difference?
No, not at all. It made the transmission run hotter. That's what.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Which was only like 130 degrees. That was hot at that point.
Still
on the road, pulling the trailer. Like before we put that in there, I think the transmission only saw 120 degrees.
Hell yeah, dude. That's so awesome.
Even in that hot heat,
up.
everything. Oh yeah.
That's nice. That's sweet. That's sweet. Drive from Thunder Valley to Ennis.
That was pretty hot, by the way.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. Is that the air dam?
Yeah, that was the air dam deal. So we're on the way to Ennis, so we decided, hey, the car didn't overheat or anything, right? But the temperatures were like 205, 210.
Enough that you're keeping an extra eye on it.
Yeah, we're just like, let's try to make that a little better, right? So we stopped, and that's like a Tractor Supply parking lot, this next to the building kind of deal.
You can see the like carts over there, and
yeah. Right.
Did this make any difference? Because this did make a difference on my car.
It did. It did help it a little bit. But what we found was it was throwing air up there, but it was just throwing it up past the radiator. So it did help a little bit, but then it was hitting the radiator, hitting the hood, and we could see the hood kind of moving now to going down the road. Where before we really didn't see that. So, and that was evident on that last pass at Ennis. We actually had some marks on the top of the intake where the hood was hitting the intake.
Just smashing like 6 inches either way.
Yeah, sure. So,
and then a fellow MegaWeeker helped you out a little bit because you're a man of a certain age, and I mean I'm a paratrooper. I get it. I got this stuff. But yeah, you got that little surprise.
Yeah, it was pretty hard on me from Texas up to back up to Tulsa. It was pretty rough on me. And some of it's the way I had the seat, because the seat's perfect for when you're up and you're on the steering wheel and you're racing. That's how I like to be. I like to be on it.
Right.
And it's perfect for that. But when you're driving, you naturally,
you don't want to be
down, and then I have no lumbar support.
Right.
So that didn't help. The heat didn't help. The roads 100% didn't help.
Dude, oh my God.
Leaving Texas.
Oh.
So none of that helped at all, right? But yeah, no, I was in bad pain. So that was the morning of the shootout. So that was the next morning. So that was Saturday morning, right?
Correct.
Friday night, I couldn't sleep at all. I got like zero sleep. I was in so much pain. I got up in the middle of the night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I walked downstairs. I'm like, dude, do you have any ibuprofen, Aleve? I need something. I was like, no, we have nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, oh. So I look outside. I look outside and, through the front doors, and I see like 2 or 3 people going like this, doing crazy stuff around the car. I'm like, okay, let's go figure out what that is. So I walk outside, and there's oogling and googling over the car. They weren't doing anything nefarious, but
right.
At first glance, it looked like they were. And I walked out there and I talked to them for a while, and they're like, "Oh, hey, I love your car." And we were talking about the car, and they were asking questions that people that don't know anything about cars ask.
Right.
And I was pretty gracious there. But then I go, "Hey, do you have any Ali or?"
Yeah. What's your painkiller of choice? What do you got? I'll take whatever.
They had nothing. So I'm like, oh. All right. So I went back up. I got a half an hour sleep here, half an hour sleep there, until like 6 o'clock. Finally rolls around. And I'm like, I know somebody's up down there. There's people up. So I walk downstairs, and there's a bunch of race groupers right there at the big, kind of table that they have in most hotels. There's like 7 or 8 people can sit at them, and they're all sitting there. I go, does anybody have ibuprofen or Aleve or something? And Chris Wishman.
Wishman.
Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. John, right?
John. Yep.
John is her husband. Oh my God, they came through 100%. Like they had Tylenol, which was enough.
With the ice, with the Tylenol.
That was her deal. She had that bag. She said, "This is what you need to do." She gave me the stuff that's like ice hat, but it's not. I forget what it's called now. But I put that on. And
whatever.
She goes,
Ben Gay, it's all the same. But yeah.
Yeah. Like she's like, here's what you need to do. You need to go upstairs. You do this, and you just put this on thing, and you put it on your back, and you put your knees up, and you put pillows in your knees, and she was like describing all the stuff I had to do, and you get some sleep. I'm like,
I'm on it.
I didn't even know. Normally I would have, graciously asked or said thank you and what's your name, but I didn't do any of that at that point.
You just roger that. I'm gonna go get some sleep. Thank you so much.
Did that. And I made a post later because I really wanted to know who they were. And
the Wishmans are awesome. He's got a cool old school machine shop that he builds motors out of in Nebraska. And they met street racing. He stole her from some dude he beat street racing. I've had them on the show. Super cool couple. And I try to keep his whatever. They're awesome. They're super cool. John, they have a 55 Chevy as well. So they're awesome.
Do they really? I did not know that.
And it runs in the 7s. So it's cool. So
nice.
Yeah. So 760, 180.
Yeah.
How was it, dude? Was that fun as hell?
Yeah. I was smiling ear to ear, grinning ear to ear 100% when I got out of the car. And Blake was like, how's that? And I'm like, it felt great. It really did to actually go all the way down the track. It tickled the rev limiter at the back, but it actually on that one, what it was is that it was still blowing through the converter. Like no magic sauce happened to get us to make a set.
Exactly.
It was still that super loose converter. But that morning, Blake was like, all right, so here's what you're gonna do. Right after the 1-2, just throw it in the third. I'm like, okay. So I did that, and we got all the way down the track. So that was good.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yes. And what was fun is you ended with a 998 average. So, whatever. The first, with that 15. But Jeff Burst was in your class in Outlaw Street. He had gone as quick as 978, and he finished in 3rd. You finished in 4th in the class.
Right.
His average was 994.
Right.
So
exactly.
So beat you by 4,000th of a second.
We almost podiumed for
Yeah, you nearly podiumed, shaking down your car with a 15-second time slip to start the week. That's pretty.
Like I said, that was our thing. Is that and I was gonna 100% abide by it. Is Blake was like, if anything happens, just get out of it. Right. So I was doing that, and then I started getting, we're good with the car now. We're doing this and doing that, and that's why, at was it Flying H when we did that 8-second pass. I actually got back into it. So it hit the rev limiter. I didn't shift, but I got back into it.
Right.
And then it hit the rev limiter again, and in that video you can hear it, tickle the rev limiter and then tickle it again. As at the end of the track as I'm getting out of it and just coast. So,
right.
It's interesting how all that plays out of me just getting used to the car and that was a big thing, really. I mean, the nerves are pretty high the first couple of times I took that.
Hell yeah, I couldn't even imagine after. I mean, writing checks and checks and checks and checks and checks. You know, and not even just that, but like, here's my brand new perfect car.
Yeah.
I hope
And here's a guy that hasn't driven a car in 5 years.
Right. And I hope I don't just wad this thing right up into the wall. But, you know, and that's got to be a nerve-wracking thing. But to end with
definitely nerve-wracking.
to end with that time slip in your hand, though, on your
good.
app.
And
holy cow!
Let me tell you, man, we have a hot rod. It is on rails.
And you told me we're going to come back next year and try to win this thing.
Yeah, we're coming back and we're gonna go for the whole deal for sure.
I dig that, dude. I dig that. That's the goal for that car, is to overall win something.
Oh yeah. Whether it's drag week or sig week or
who cares?
All of them.
All of them, any of them, one of them. I mean, to be that, you know, that dude standing on top, holding a guitar or holding a big wad of cash or whatever the hell, like, that's what a kick-ass goal, dude. Like, how cool. And how I you know, gentleman never asks and the lady never tells. How old a guy are you now?
Well, you know, I'm like 50, mid-50s, 56.
Okay. Yeah.
56 years old. So
totally.
Probably 10 years in me in this deal.
I was going to say, you're living the dream, and you got a good solid 10 years to go enjoy this car, like, and go compete with an all steel, all glass car. Like, you know, I mean, how cool would it be to go run up alongside of like Joe Barry with an all steel, all glass car? You know, like that'd be cool. It's kind of, you know,
come on, Joe, come out of retirement, buddy. Let's go.
Right. Starting this crap in 2017, could you imagine right now being in the same sentence as that guy? How cool!
No,
how cool!
I could never imagine. Yeah, for sure.
Freaking awesome, man! I love it. I absolutely cannot wait. 20 years. That's right.
I got 20 years in me. Okay, all right. Thank you for
20 years. 20 years left. That's right. That's my buddy Steve. He got me into hot rodding. So
right on.
You did some co-piloting for some folks too.
Yeah.
Who has so I'm gonna screw his name up.
Ridenauer.
Yeah. Craig Ridenauer.
Yeah.
Ridenauer. The Rip Ride Nova. Yep. Naturally aspirated big block. Ride.
Yep.
Runs on the 9s. It's awesome. It's reliable. It's sweet as hell. It's a super cool car.
Loud, you know.
Yeah. And then
and not waterproof, by the way.
And not waterproof, right? And Scott Brown, who's old and I hope his wife isn't watching, but smokes. Yeah, dude, just a little gruff guy. Who was the cooler guy to co-pilot for?
I mean, they're equal, dude.
They can't be equal. You got to pick one.
Because they're great. They're great.
They're not your kids. They're not your dogs.
They're great friends of mine, and we have our own little deal. Each of us have our own little deal, but it's similar, right?
All right.
You know, who's easier going versus the other, or something like that. There's probably a difference there.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Who's got worse farts?
I'm not going to divulge any of that stuff.
Come on. Who eats shittier?
Who eats worse food?
Yeah.
That's probably Scott. Yeah.
Okay. Scott eats worse food.
Yeah.
What are you a crappy eater on the road?
I can be. I shouldn't be. And you know, my recent thing is I'm trying to stay away from sugar, and I did a terrible job at that.
I blame Blake, man. That's your co-pilot.
It wasn't Blake's fault. You know, we'd pull over and I'd get a hot dog and like 4 or 5 things of Mentos and you know, a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I just sit there and pop Mentos all day.
It's the fresh maker. I get it. Mentos that's a good snack.
Yeah, it's way too much sugar, bro.
That's okay. That's okay. Why are you guys arguing with Keith Turk in this picture?
Oh, well, here we're trying to school him, and let him understand that he shouldn't drink Diet Coke. It should be Diet Pepsi.
Oh, I disagree. Diet Pepsi's terrible. Diet Coke's the way. You're an idiot. I might hang up on you. No, Diet Pepsi's. So all right. So I got diet soda. Story. Not a ton. A few people know this. Not a ton of people know this, but
All right.
So Iraq. I'm in Iraq. We're doing our thing. The Coke in Iraq, the Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
tastes like absolute. It's terrible.
it is. It was bad. Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad. So I come to find out that they ship the syrup ahead, and then they mix them in bottling plants and canning plants. Where they end up at. It's cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah.
But the diets they didn't do that with for whatever reason. They shipped the diets that were mixed in the States, so it was a little bit of home. It was a little piece of home diet sodas. So now I got hooked on diet sodas, but all we had was Diet Pepsi. We didn't have Diet Coke. We had Diet, and they don't know what diet. It's Pepsi Light. They don't know what the hell a diet is. They don't understand the concept of eating less food. That's not like they're hunter gatherers over there still. So yeah, they're like, why are you running? Is something chasing you? You need to preserve your energy. They're basically cavemen +1. So they don't understand diet. But I drank Pepsi Light like it was going out of style, and I got back here and I couldn't drink regular Coke again. I tried drinking Diet Pepsi. It didn't seem right, but Diet Coke got it.
Got it for you. That's good.
Yeah, diet. Yeah, I don't. Do you like Coke or Pepsi?
I grew up on Pepsi.
So you're just a Pepsi guy all along.
Yeah. No, I grew up on Pepsi. And
that's weird. I would assume that you'd be a Ford guy if you were a Pepsi guy. I don't know what the correlation is necessarily.
No, come on, the pop or the soda or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty regional, and Midwest, St. Louis area is 100% Pepsi.
Okay, all right, I get it. Yep. Which car was more fun? Not driver, but car was more fun to co-pilot with.
I don't know. Probably Capone, because it's just so unique. It's not your typical car, and there's a lot of interaction with people, right?
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything down to his helmet. He's got the kind of the Capone, like with the cigar, which is actually crazy.
And it was a lot quieter, and it was waterproof. Okay. So there you go. There you go.
And Craig smokes real cigars.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So
we have that in common. So we're both cigar smokers.
Nice, hell yeah. And Keith got me into cigars, but I only like one cigar. And that's it. It's a Tabak Especial.
Okay.
It's a Lane, I believe Lane. I can't remember, something like that. Yeah, is what it is. So he got me hooked on those. That's the only thing I smoke. I tried a ton of other stuff. They give me headaches. Just that one. So now you know, and knowing is half the battle. We are almost at an hour. I told you this goes quick.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm going to start getting into my questions. If you have questions to ask, Steve says Coors Light is his best. That's his favorite. And Stevie says Dr. Dynamic. That is an inside joke. That's all good. But Mr. Haefner, what is the largest thrash that you have been a part of?
The largest thrash?
Yep.
Let's see. That would have had to have been I think Dan's Week Wagon in what was that, 17?
I think that was 17.
Trying to think. No. Yeah, it was.
Or was it 18? I can't remember.
No, it was 17.
Okay.
So he had to put a converter in it. So Greg Herbert, we got a hold of him and he found a place for us to go to change the converter. So we actually had a shop to go to. That's probably the biggest one that I was personally involved with. Yeah.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
That was pretty cool.
What's your best memory from a drag and drive?
That's pretty hard. Let's see. I don't know, probably waiting for a train, like for a half an hour.
Just sitting.
Yeah, we were sitting. I wish I would have thrown you that picture. This was in Midwest Drags. It was like midnight, and we're like 5 miles from the hotel, and we're cut off by this train track with a train sitting on it.
Just sitting,
not going through. It's
not
sitting.
Driving, not moving, not doing, just sitting.
And like we started flailing. It's like, how do we get around this thing? After about half an hour, we started thinking, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah, that was Midwest Drags in 2021 or 2020, late 2020, whatever it was. I can't remember now.
Yeah, 21.
21. Yeah.
Hell yes.
And we finally got to the hotel at 1:30, and everybody's already at the parking lot, all half lit. It's like,
yeah,
we're just like
waiting at the. Yeah, we 5 minutes too late.
But, that was great. That was a really long day. I remember that too. So I guess that's what made it memorable. We were like the last people to track, that kind of deal. So.
Do you still have the C6, by the way?
No, I sold the roller. I parted the car out after Midwest Drags. So
okay.
So my wife and I have this kind of agreement is that I can have one race car at a time.
Okay.
Can't have more than one race car. So that was our agreement, and I abided by that. And as soon as Midwest Drags was over, I started parting it out, and took the Cutlass over to Blake. So
hell yeah.
So as you call, I actually bought that Cutlass in like June or July of 2020. So I already knew what was going down. And yeah, so
it happens.
Yeah.
That kind of leads into my next question. Tell me about the one that got away. What cars you sell you shouldn't have sold?
68 Firebird.
Okay.
For sure. I love that car. That was a really good car.
My brother-in-law has a 68 Firebird. It was a 400 4-speed. It's now a 428 with some extra bore. So it's like a 430 with a TKX 5-speed. Still has all the original stuff, but it's green. It's awesome. It's he just brought his brand new baby boy home in it. So two boys came home in the 68 Firebird. Cool.
That's
cool
awesome.
Cars.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's a Pontiac guy. I try not to hold it against him, but he's all right.
I'm a pseudo Pontiac guy, but I always had Chevy motors in them, so there you go.
Right. He's a Pontiac guy. He'd make fun of you.
Yeah,
I
can't do that Pontiac stuff. I can't do it.
Yeah, the same. I don't have that kind of pocketbook, but apparently he's rich, so whatever. Favorite racetrack?
I'm gonna have to give the nod to, the probably Great Lakes, or some of the tracks up in that area, just because of the fan base, the people.
Dude, they come out in droves.
It's a Tuesday, in September, and a million people show up. I mean,
right.
I have to give it to them. Yeah,
that's awesome. Hell yes. And I mean, they sell the place out. It's crazy. It's standing room only to come watch Drag Week. It's freaking great. Yeah. I agree. I love it. Trailer or no trailer?
Oh, trailers.
Have you done it without one? I mean, you've had a Corvette.
Spend the time unpacking your car over and over and over again.
Every day. That gets old.
I mean, hey, kudos to the people that do it and whatever. Hey, good on you.
Right.
It's not me. We look to limit what we have to do to cut over from race mode and to street mode. The whole thing is streamlining that whole deal. That's how you get through and do it.
Gary Putnam is jumping
Gary,
in. Saying, hey, Steve. I had Gary on my podcast as well. The That's Cool Drink podcast. There'll be more coming out. This is my shameless plug. More coming out on my That's Cool Drink podcast. That's available on all of your normal outlets. And I'm a little behind, so you'll see Mr. Haefner in, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, whenever I get around to it. And I'm not buying additional space, so it hasn't paid me dime one yet. So I'm paying the least tier on that. So
hey, you got to start somewhere, buddy, right?
Exactly, dude. And if these end up just being me hanging out with my buddies and me getting to watch a couple hundred episodes of me hanging out with my buddies when I'm old and gray, then damn it, that's what we're going to be doing. Because I don't even care if it makes me $1. I'm enjoying the hell out of this.
Right on.
So,
right on.
The one I give you a heads up on, and I give everyone a heads up on, what drag and drive and what car would you like to run for an event and or day? Just campaign it. And what car would you like to put in your garage?
This actually took a little bit of thought. I came up with the one I wanted to own pretty quickly. The one I wanted to drive down the drag strip, I bounced around all over the place. But one I'd like to own is Greg Hurlbert's 65 Chevelle. And
it's so sick, man.
That thing, in my humble opinion, is just perfect. Now, he'll tell you it's a turd.
Of course.
It's not.
Of course. It is not. The only thing it's missing, in my opinion, is the stick shift. But that car is badass.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I would want to own that. I have an affinity for that era of car.
Yep. And just, he did it right. It's got the Kragers on the front. It's got the Steelies in the back. You know, it's big block. It's naturally aspirated. I think is it nitrous now?
I don't think he ever put nitrous on it.
I don't think he's ever had that. Yeah, it's naturally aspirated. It runs hard. I think it runs in the 9s.
Yeah, pretty sure it's there, or high 10s, or low 10s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember where.
It's a sick. That car is so good. The car is so good. That's the first time we've had that on this show, and Greg's an OG drag week dude, and he's got a couple of 55 Chevys as well. So you gotta love that guy. Stevie loves the Kragers. She's a fan. You see why I married her? Stay away, guys. See why she's got my last name? You see that? Just saying. So that's what you would own. That's one you'd put in your garage
for sure. And if he's put it up for sale a few times, and it's just like a few other people that have put their cars up for sale. I mean, if I had the money, I would have bought them. Right. All my money's somewhere else right now.
Totally. And I mean, I think he had it for sale it was like $40K, which is, I can't remember the exact number.
I don't remember either, but at the time I thought, oh yeah, I could totally do that.
That's what that car is worth. Like it's a 9-second car that looks the way it looks. It's worth every penny of that. I can't believe he didn't sell that car when he had it for sale. Yes, I agree.
Well, I think he has a standard of who he'll sell to too. So if you're just some shitbag,
Yeah, you can't have this car. You have to take care of this car, or else. That car is super badass. Real big fan. Which one would you drive?
It came down to what I thought was a cool car. So this is a throwback to the 4 different cars that I wanted to build, right? The 4 different, the 55 Chevy, the 67 Nova, the second gen Camaro. You get the idea. It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be Frank's 55 stick shift silver, beautiful.
And a
Yep.
totally.
He's got nitrous on it, but he doesn't really run the nitrous that often. So
right.
Yeah, it would have to be that. I would want to. I'd want to feel like it would have. I would want to go down the strip feeling like a man, shifting.
Yeah, smacking the gear shifter around, and finding a cubby to put your nuts in.
That thing is so beautiful, man.
Doing all the RPM burnouts. Dude, and this dude lives it, and he's I agree. That we've had that one on the show before. Frank's 55 is absolutely amazing. If you've not seen it, go look at it. It's not is it just a pretty car. That car also runs good, super good. Runs in the nines. Stick shift, big block, smacking gears, and drag and drive car to boot. So he can drive down the roads. It's been on Sick Week a bunch of times. It's been on Hot Rod Drag Week a bunch of times. It's absolutely cool. And the dude is he's from Long Island. He's a tattoo dude. He's a hoot. He owns now 2 tattoo shops. He just Da Vinci Tattoo just expanded. So they have the second Da Vinci Tattoo shop, which that dude's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
He kind of he's been pushing how many summers do you think you have left? 10. Like, go and enjoy them. I'm a big Romano fan. I like that guy.
Yeah, cool dude.
Hell yes. My last couple of questions, and if you have questions for Mr. Haefner, throw them up here in the comments, and we'll get those answered. But Steve, what advice do you have for a newbie? And for you, I'm going to throw it out to a guy that is building a purpose-built race car, drag and drive car. What advice do you have a guy that's doing what you just did?
Well, I mean, I think for anybody, you got to start with something, that's, doing 10-second time slips. You can't just jump into a car like what I'm in now. You have to start with something and just get used to the routine, and you get used to the speed, and then just, and then upgrade, and then upgrade and upgrade. You know what I mean? So for me, it was the same car I updated to make it go faster, and then now I'm in a different car to go faster. But don't just think you're going to swing for the fence. If you're the guy that's got the money and you can buy a car, or you got the money and have one built, take your time with it, and don't rush it. Unless you've been doing it your entire life. I've only been at this now for since 17. And that's not that long with a 5-year break. So I think I'm ready for it, but we don't know until we start making some real laps with it. So
and really you'll know when it gets weird on you. Yeah. When it scares you again, you're gonna go, okay, that's right. But it'll print slips until it'll scare you, and then you'll be like, hey, that's right.
And the other advice that I probably have around that is if you are going to fly by the seat of your pants, find a quality builder that can build something on rails like what I did.
Right.
Now, this car is just, oh my God, dude, it's on rails. It's a fast hot rod.
I love it.
For sure.
My final question. What updates do you have coming for the Cutlass, and what is your ultimate goal for that car?
Low 6s is the ultimate goal. I think we have to do that.
Hell yeah.
So that, and then be consistent with it. And we can do that on a radial, in my humble opinion.
Hell yes.
In regards to, heads up stuff, I mean, we got to be low 4s, tickling 3s, if not in the 3s with the car. Mm-hmm. 75, and the car's capable of it. So now we just gotta get the driver there, and make the adjustments to the car to get it there. So right now, as regards to the car, what's happening to the car right now, it's all apart right now. Cleaning it and doing some other stuff. After that 1,700 miles, we went ahead and, pulled the heads, took the bottom end apart,
Smart.
looked at everything, and, we found some rod bearing issues. So we're in the middle of fixing those right now. And we're making a change in the stator to tighten up the converter. That's already done. We actually got that stator in last week or 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
That in the car already, but then we're now doing the rest of the teardown. Found a little minor big block stuff, right? This is a big block Chevy woes, a little minor coolant leak. And
internal thing or
in
external?
the seeping out the front right there at that front, the real on the passenger side. There's that coolant passage is real close to the edge of the intake. So
yep, the intake right there. Yep,
that was leaking a little bit. So pulled the intake, and pulling the intake made us look harder at other stuff. We had aluminum rockers on it initially. TDs, good stuff, but we're going to switch over to steels.
Smart.
And then we found a little valve, the valve lash cap kind of issue that we need to work through. So stuff that that makes sense to go through on a car like this at this caliber at this time before something happens, right? So we're spending our time to get it right before we do anything else. But before too long, we'll be looking for the next event to do. I want to do another event, whether it's a weekend deal or whether it's I think Gary mentioned Titans, whether or not we hit the Titans deal. Ideally, we would have done all the Titans. I'm down, buddy. Ideally, we would have done all the Titans this year, but frankly, not only was the car not ready for that, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for competition, really, to be honest. I hadn't had a turbo car until now. This is my first turbo car, and
staging it's a whole different thing. Just
never used a bump button, so
even you've only made 7 passes.
That last, we didn't use the bump button any time there. So, so I got to get into that, right? I gotta tune myself up,
Gary, we were talking earlier, 3,300 with him in
33 and some change with me in it,
So,
and that's
that's all steel, all glass,
steel, all glass, with fuel, with street fuel in the car. So we're winning. So that's good. I'm happy with that.
Well, my next question. Will we see the drag week? I don't know if you're signed up. If
we do drag week, that's a good segue, I guess, is drag week's on the East Coast. I'm not a super big fan of the East Coast roads specifically because I've been there. But we might very well do it just because we can go there and get in, right? I think I would like to do another event before Sick Week, just so we can see how the car holds up this time with the changes we're going to make. But before that, we're going to do some testing. We're going to go somewhere. We're going to upgrade my inter license so that I can go faster than 7.5, because that's all I can do right now as a driver. Get more passes on the car, and work on the 60-foot. We got, as you saw, we have the 60-foot turned down big time.
Right.
But that's on purpose. So then we can start turning that up, get me used to that 60-foot. Now I'm used to the eighth, sort of that fast eighth. Now I got to get used to the fast shorter times as a driver. So we'll be methodical about it.
Yeah, just baby steps. Do it right. Do it the right way, and you'll have a car for a long time. 20 years. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. 100%.
Hell yes.
But we're down to do that and some other stuff.
So Sick Week for sure, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go.
Hell yeah, because
we just got to get in. We don't have the free pass, but next year we'll have the free pass.
Attaboy. Hell yes. Well, Steve, dude, I'm good. We're set. This is awesome. This has been a hell of a good hour and change, and and rapping with you about the new car and the old car and the getting into this. And what a hell of a good night yakking with you. And I appreciate you coming on, dude. This has been fun.
No, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. Excuse me.
Oh, drink some more of that water. Holy moly.
Yeah, right.
That's actually Everclear. You didn't see behind the scenes. He's just chugging Everclear. It's awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate you. I'm going to throw you in the background real quick. Say goodbye to these folks, and then I'll say goodbye to you before we leave.
All right, run on, bud.
Awesome, man. Holy moly, how awesome was that? Dude, Steve Haefner, like I said, started with a 15-second time slip, worked his way up to a 760 with that awesome cutlass. Sad the wife won't let him have more cars, because I'd like to see that C6 come back out, but it's parted out and rocking him down the road, and we will have the cutlass trying to run in the low sixes. That'll be super awesome. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in again. Tuesday night here on the 1st. I will be back on the 8th, and I have an awesome show. I have Sean Fink and I have Jason Sack. So Sean Fink is an old school drag week guy. He had the Nova wagon, and he just completed Big Sky Race Week with Jason Sack at his side. Jason Sack, of course, the driver of the Cowboy Up Nova as well. So Sean and Jason will be on. It's going to be Wyoming and South Dakota next week, and it's going to be awesome. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks so much to Steve for coming on. That's Cool Drink, episode 79. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Have a good night.